Are you struggling with dry, itchy skin or eczema or acne on your face and you need a solution? Stay tuned because I'm going to show you how to make an herbal tallow bar to help your skin feel moisturized and fresh and rejuvenated. So let's get started. The first things that you're going to need are some oils. You need some olive oil, and I'm also using organic tallow. The herbs that we're choosing today is black walnut hulls, goldenrod, chamomile. You'll also need a couple different molds, a scale and a jar, and some beeswax. So we're gonna go ahead and measure. I want to make 16 ounces of infused oil first. I don't already have the oil infused, so we're gonna do a quick method that I don't use very often. I don't really like to do it very much, but I'm going to teach you how to do the quick method today. If you're more interested in doing the slow, longer method of infusing oil, you can check this video up here where I teach you how to infuse an oil the long way, where it takes about 2 weeks. But today we're going to get done in 3 hours. So we're going to measure out our herbs, and I want to make 16 ounces of herbs. So I like to do a 1:4 ratio. 1 ounce of herbs for 4 ounces of oil. So 4 goes into 16 4 times. So I need 4 ounces of herbs to 16 ounces of oil. So I have black walnut hulls, goldenrod, and chamomile. And as we measure out our herbs, I will explain why I chose these herbs. We are gonna have goldenrod as our star herb today. So we're gonna do 2 ounces of goldenrod, 1 ounce of black walnut hulls, and 1 ounce of chamomile. So that would give us 4 ounces, 2, 3, and 4. So let's measure out our goldenrod, and I'm gonna tell you why this is so special. First of all, goldenrod is an herb that is growing everywhere right now, and not to be confused with ragweed. It is not the one that causes everybody's allergic reactions, but it is beautiful and it is growing right now. So if you have goldenrod fresh, this would be a really awesome recipe to make if you can wildcraft some of that. So we're gonna put this in here. Maybe I should get a funnel. And if you're super messy like me, a funnel is really important. So we'll just put this back in here. And I'm gonna press tade now so that I have the measurement of my funnel as well. So now I'm gonna measure out my goldenrod, 2 ounces. So goldenrod has a lot of different uses. Right now we're gonna focus more on what it does for the skin. So goldenrod is anti-inflammatory. So it reduces inflammation and it improves wound healing. And it's also a really fluffy herb, so we're gonna see if we can actually get enough in here without it filling up the whole jar. The only contradiction we have with goldenrod is that sometimes if you are allergic to ragweed, you can be allergic to goldenrod. Also, if you're allergic to latex, it might be better if you substituted a different herb too, because it can make you have an allergic reaction. Again, another substitute would be calendula, or if you want to use white oak bark, that's also another really good skin herb. So the next herb that we're going to use is chamomile. And I know everyone's really familiar with chamomile for sleeping, but it's also a really good wound healer as well, and it's anti-inflammatory. So chamomile protects the skin from free radical damage. It speeds cell and tissue renewal. It is antibacterial, antifungal, anti-inflammatory, and it also is skin lightening. So it has these things in it that's called vasodilators. So it improves blood flow and helps the skin to be bright and more fresh, which is what we all want, right? So we're gonna add this. I may actually need another jar, but black walnut hulls are a little bit more dense. So we will see about using another jar or not. But I'm gonna add 1 ounce of black walnut hulls. And it might be a little bit of a weird thing for me to add because most people aren't extremely familiar with black walnut and all of their properties. Black walnuts are antifungal, so if you have any type of parasite, they're good internally, but also external. If you have like ringworm or any type of fungal infection, black walnut is incredible, but it's also really good at at any type of skin issue. It works really well in eczema and acne. We make an herbal soap with black walnut hulls and activated charcoal, and it is incredible for clearing up the skin of pretty much anything. So I really like to use it in here because I've seen a lot of results using black walnut. It's also high in tannins, which reduces the pain and the swelling. So if you are struggling with eczema and it's like really crusty and it's painful, or you have a child that's scratching all the time, the black walnut does really help. It's because it's astringent. It really helps to bring that pain and that swelling down, so it's a little bit more tolerable and they're not scratching at it so much. So now that we have our herbs in here, I'm gonna press Toddy on my scalp, and we are going to add in our oils. So I'm gonna actually put this in another jar because I don't think it's gonna work in our pot like this. But we are going to add 14 ounces of grass-fed tallow, and I'm gonna add 2 ounces of olive oil. And this is 60 ounces of oil, so I'm gonna go ahead and use a half gallon because I don't want it to make a mess and be everywhere. And I want it to have lots of room to get as much as it possibly can out. So I'm gonna add my herbs back into here. If you were using a less dense herb, so like if you were, calendula is pretty fluffy, but if you were using maybe like white oak bark, it would probably be fine in a 32 ounce glass. But both calendula and golden seal, they take up a lot of space. They're not very dense, so it's probably better just to have a 64 ounce jar. So now I'm gonna press Toddy again. And I'm going to add 2 ounces of olive oil, and I'm going to add my 14 ounces of tallow into my herbs. And it's always good to have a high quality oil. The higher quality of the products, you're gonna get a better outcome. So this is, for olive oil, you always want cold pressed olive oil, and it's better if you, like this is a local olive oil, so it's better if you actually know the source, since there's so much scamming going around. Next, I'm going to add our tallow. Now, if you're wondering why in the world we'd use tallow or put beef fat on our face, it is very similar to our skin biology. Our skin absorbs it really well, and it's very hydrating for our skin. It's really rich in fat-soluble vitamins A, D, K, and E. And so that's important because vitamin A encourages the production of collagen and elasticin. Vitamin D contributes to skin repair and development. Vitamin K helps with skin tone and texture. Vitamin E repairs and reverses free radical damage. So this type of oil does a lot for your skin already, just being rich in those vitamins. And just because of its cell makeup, your body absorbs it really well. So it's a good way to get those vitamins into your skin. So, and it is also antimicrobial and anti-inflammatory. And so most of the skin issues that we're talking about, like eczema and dry skin, those are all have to do with inflamed tissues. So it is definitely a really good option for dealing with these skin issues. And then olive oil, which is another one that we use, is also essential in fatty acids that nourish and hydrate skin, and it is rich in antioxidants, so it really helps with the aging, with not looking so aged, and with the fine lines and wrinkles. So that is that. We're going to turn our scale off, and we are going to go to the stove for now. So right now we are making an infused oil, so we're not adding anything else. We're just going to infuse this oil for a few hours. So I'm going to bring you over to the stove. So the next step I filled a large stock pot with water, and I'm going to turn my stove on to medium. I'm going to stick my jar with my herbs in here. Okay. So I'm going to let this sit and simmer for 3 hours. Okay, so it has been a few hours and my oil is officially done. So I have a mason jar with my funnel and then a little strainer. And I'm going to strain out the herb that is in here. It is still a little bit hot, so you might want to be careful. So I'm just going to press down and try to get as much oil as I possibly can out of here. And then when you're done with the herb, if you have a compost pile, you can compost it. Or if you have chickens that like to pick at things, they might enjoy it. You could also strain this through a cheesecloth if you want to, but I chose not to do that right now because it is very hot. So that would still kind of burn my hands. So I'm just gonna use this method for now. But with a cheesecloth, and if you waited it for it to cool, it might actually get a little bit more than what I'm probably gonna get. So my finished oil is about 10 or so ounces. Now I'm going to take this and we're gonna go back to the stove and I'm going to melt some beeswax in here for our final step. Okay, so I measured about 2 ounces of my beeswax and I'm going to go ahead and add this into my oil. We are going to let this melt. When the beeswax is completely melted, it is ready to take off the stove and we're gonna move it over and get ready to put it into our molds. Now I'm gonna take a ladle and I'm gonna carefully fill all of my molds. I have these silicone molds and I went ahead and sprayed them with a little bit of oil even though I'm putting oil into them, but just in case so they don't stick and they come out really nice. But I think it's probably unnecessary. Also at this point, if you wanted to add a little bit of essential oils, lavender is a nice anti-inflammatory and soothing essential oil. When it gets a little bit, when the oil is like warm to the touch, you can go ahead and add a drop or 2 of lavender. If you add it when it's still too hot, it'll kill the essential oil and you won't be able to smell anything at all. So now when they're all filled, we're gonna go ahead and let them sit for an hour or so and let them entirely harden. They're gonna turn nice in like a creamy white when they're all done and ready to be taken out. So that is how you make an herbal tallow face bar. If you have any ideas of things that you would like me to make or any questions, please pop them in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching and I hope you have a lovely day. Goodbye.